Alright, so what we got today? Well, back on the sawmill assembly, obviously. I got the rails together, the feet on it. Somewhat following the instructions, so that's good. Getting ready to start on putting the saw head together and getting that ready to go on the rail. So, still trying to decide what to set this on, if I want to set it on blocks or get some 6x6 posts. Maybe even saw one up, saw some beams up and set it on, so I don't know. So, still trying to figure that out, but still got plenty of work to do to get this thing put together. So, we're going to go ahead and dive in and get to putting this saw head together. It seems like the most complicated part. I've got a few hours so far into all this. A lot of little tedious kind of stuff. I've been trying to square all the bunks up, everything, get it all nice and neat, but that's all together, tight now. So let's get on the saw head. So I went ahead and took the user manual, assembly instructions, whatever, and put them in a ring binder. They were stapled together and kept trying to close on me, so had to punch the holes though. They had this weird 4-hole binder, which I don't know, maybe you can buy them somewhere, I don't know, but the pages are a little bit longer or whatever. So I punched the 3 holes in it and put them in a ring binder for myself, so it'll stay open to the page I want, and yeah, a little bit better protected, I guess. So yeah, anyway, let's get working on this saw head here. Now the video, I seen them loosen this up because I watched a video from Wood-Mizer on this, but I don't know. It didn't say it in the instructions that I seen. So who knows, right? Make sure I'm going the right direction with this. Good thing I looked, because I think I was going the wrong direction. Stay. All right, so what we got today? Well, back on the sawmill. got the gist of it put together. Threw out some blocks here. Just going to set it up on blocks right now to decide what I want to do as far as mounting the thing. So I'm going to just level these up best I can. It's not going to be perfect. You know, I'll take out the adjustment in the legs, and it's got the adjustable feet on it. So it may not be, you know, the best to set it on blocks, but that's what we're going to do. So I'll go ahead and get an idea. I feel like that's the lowest corner over there. And like I said, I'm going to try to level them, but if it's too much digging, we're just going to level it with the legs. So I'll start down there in the lowest corner, and we'll use a string level because I don't have one of those fancy laser levels. And you know, see how much we have to dig down to get all these blocks somewhat level. And once we get them level, well, obviously we'll have to line them up with the legs first, so I'll take some measurements there. And get the sawmill thrown over here and then finish putting it together on the ground. I've been putting it together on the trailer. Need the trailer for another project, so something else might be coming. But need the trailer, so I'm going to set the sawmill off onto the blocks once we level these up, and then we'll kind of finish putting this thing together. So let's get to it. So I roughly centered the sawmill with the center of the shed here. The sawmill is 20 foot and 1 inch actually long on the rails, so I just kind of centered it up. It's not perfect, but it's close. So now we need to decide how far we want it from the side of the shed. So I want a little bit of walking room and moving around room. So I'm gonna come off of here. Let's see. Let's say at least 5 foot. Maybe we'll go 6 foot. So 6 foot, kind of right there. Yeah, it's close. And then I think it was 27 inches between the rails. So 8 foot, what, 3 inches? So about here's where our blocks are gonna go. And that should leave me enough walking room. Like I said, I think it was 27 inches is what was between the blocks. And you can already see this here needs to go down a couple inches. Well, you might not see it way over there, but I can see it. Right about 2 inches almost, just shy. So from here to that upper corner, which looks to be the highest corner, is going to drop a little bit more. So we need to go get some measurements on our legs, and that way we put our blocks in the right spots. So we'll go do that. So actually the first set of feet don't start until about 30 inches from the end of the sawmill here, or from the end of the rail. So we're going to say 30. 45. 75. Now that we got some measurements, we'll start and work our way that way, setting our blocks up once we string up that far corner. So we'll probably measure to the far corner first, just to see how bad it's off. So now with our newfound knowledge, these blocks, if I start setting the feet here, the sawmill is going to be sticking past, you know, this way. So we might want to scoot these blocks down that way just a little bit. So it looks like a couple 3 inches over here maybe. And we'll say 3 inches. It's really close to being 3 inches. So, and that's the highest corner. So this would be the one that would have to be dug down the most. So 3 inches, those legs have a couple of inches of adjustment. If I set this one all the way down, then that one would be up 3 inches. So that's not too bad. I adjusted them all to 2 inches right there. So let's just let it fly. We'll just set the blocks up and set her down. Name's off a mile. Now, I didn't read the instructions, But setting this up, I don't know if it's anything about setting it on blocks. I don't think so, but if it does, let me know, just so we all know. But it's not gonna be on here permanent. I don't even know, I may even not even use it sitting on these blocks time I get it put together. But anyway, let's quit flapping our jaw and get this thing set on here. Ooh, that was close. Okay. So now that I think about it, I'm on the wrong side of the rail. So we're going to fix that. That shouldn't be as big of a problem. What is a bigger problem is getting by the camper now. I don't think I'm going to fit. Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. Can't muscle it into place here. Yeah. Yeah. Look here. First board off the new mill. Alright, so I've spent a few minutes kind of leveling up the rails here. This extension is not bolted on or even tight, so just kind of roughing this one in, but that's actually pretty level back there. It's just sitting on the blocks. Nothing extravagant, you know, I ain't built anything for it yet. So I just wanted to get it leveled up and kind of in place so I can set the saw head on here. You know, I kind of pass that hurdle. Then I can just, as I need to, work on it. You know, I got all the parts laid out, so just here and there I'll kind of piece the rest of it together. So anyway, let's set this saw head on here and see how it looks. So I got the stop on here, so to stop here, it won't, you know, it won't roll past here onto this piece that's not bolted together or anything. So I do have the stops on it so the saw head won't roll off, but yeah, let's throw this on here. Oh yeah. All right, well, that's as far as we can make it so far. She's on the rails. Rows really nice. So far, I have about 10 hours roughly in this. And that's, you know, taking my time, you know, doing other things that kind of a little bit in between, but mainly, you know, time spent focused on this it's been about 10 hours. You know, that's counting me in and out with the trailer, moving it around with the excavator, all that stuff. You know, probably shouldn't counted that because, you know, most people's going to assemble it where you're going to use it, but not me. I had to assemble it in there for some reason. But anyway, so far about 10 hours, so got a few hours left on this. And again, that's me taking my time and not getting in no rush. You know, still don't know how much I have left, but we'll see, you know, when we get to it. But hopefully have an idea of, you know, what it takes. So, but I think this will be a good spot for it. I'll probably put, you know, like a lean-to roof on this shed eventually. Get out here and cover me up a little bit. You know, leave me enough room to load some logs and you know, keep this out of the weather. So down the road. But for right now, I'm glad to have this at least this far. So now all I got is putting the you know, the saw head together and get all that working. So yeah. All right, so good morning. Back on the sawmill again. As you can see, got some parts laid out here. This is what we got left for the assembly of the LX50 Super. I think I got that right. Gonna try to get the saw head assembly knocked out here. A lot of small parts, probably a lot of adjustment involved in this this last little step here, but we'll see how far we get. So let's go ahead and jump in and get going on this. So I've seen a lot of people complaining about the owner's manual or the assembly instructions, whatever this is, but I've not had really any trouble with it so far. Maybe they've updated it since, but it's not been too bad to follow. You know, I have to kind of scratch my head a little bit here and there, but it's not been horrible. So I think this is where we've made it to. Yeah, that seems about right. So looks like we need to do the handle next. So I spent about 30 minutes today, maybe longer, with these bushings that go in these brackets here. So there's little plastic bushing snaps in here. I'm sure you can see that. Whoa. And the instructions say if it don't fit, kind of sand some of the paint out. Well, you have to take paint and metal and all to get these to fit. Not sure why they ain't drilled a little closer to the appropriate size, but just be ready. Now, don't say how far to slide this sprocket up onto this little keyway here. It just says slide it on there and tighten it. So, I mean, a lot of variance there. So, we'll snug it down a little bit and see what it looks like on the machine. Just when I bragged on the instructions the other day, this starting to get a little vague here, and especially the bushing thing. That was a little bit ridiculous. I had to tap some holes. I mean, you know, okay, but these were these were really full of powder coating. But it wasn't just the powder coating. I had to take a lot of metal out as well to get these to go in. I don't say anything in the instructions, but silicone lube, it's good for these kind of bushings and stuff. Oh no, I didn't tap those holes out. It's starting to look like a sawmill. Cross your fingers. There's nothing holding it up but this jack now. Well, again, this is as far as we've made it today, so not sure when we'll get back on it. I mean, it sounds like a broken record, but be a few days. But going together okay. The cables, not too bad to do. You know, just follow the instructions. But the lift does work. It's not adjusted, so it's, you know, it's not leveled up. One big problem though is this sprocket, and I've heard people talk about that, that they had to kind of sand or grind down the edges of the sprocket, and mine's doing the same thing. The teeth are, you know, just as wide as the sprocket. And normally on a chain drive, you know, there's a little bit of taper to the teeth of the sprocket. So we'll sand those off. They're catching because the sprocket's got a wobble to it. You know, it's just welded kind of crooked onto the bushing there. So anyway, it's together. It's going the way we want. So another day or two, we should have this thing together. You know, just work an hour or two here or there. All right, to the point of mounting the water tank, and there's no bolt holes for it to go where it needs to go. So my bolt holes are over here. So when you go to put this part in, look real close at the picture. You can kind of see the bolt holes. Should be over here. So I didn't notice that. Let's flip this thing around. So far the chain, I feel like that popping noise is getting a little bit better. And it's the sprocket rubbing uneven on the chain. And it may wear itself in, but I don't like that. I really want to kind of sand it a little bit, or grind off the edge of that sprocket so it don't do that. But I'd have to break the chain back apart to do that. Don't really want to do that. So I don't know if this thing will fall apart or not when I do this, but it's got to come out of there. Yeah. All right, so got a few things here. Got some cables ran. Got the belt on. Stuck the blade on. I've been adjusting a little bit on these wheels here to get everything where I want it. So right now we're trying to make sure the blade is parallel to the bunks. So I've been at this a few little rounds here, so let's see what we got here. So we got 17 7/8. Whoa. Let's move you guys back. Looks like about 17 15/16, so just a little tiny bit high in the back. So see if we can't take that out of there. So far all my measurements coming out good. You know, I've adjusted both wheels, you know, to get the blade pitch, I guess, right. And it's good and parallel with the rail here. So now I'm going to adjust the guide rollers. Yeah, I didn't bring a funnel. All right, so got the blade on, did some finagling, some aligning. I'm sure it's perfect, but went ahead and put some oil in the engine, put some gas in the engine. I think it's time to start this bad boy up and see what happens. So the instructions call for kind of once you do some of this fine tuning here to start it up, run it, check it again. So it's kind of what we'll do, see what it looks like after the fact. So I didn't put my little muffler guard on. We should probably stick that on real quick. I don't know which way it's supposed to point. I guess away from me. Probably should have put this on earlier. I can't really get to that screw, so we're gonna put that on later. So let's see if this thing will start. So fuel's on, choke's on. The throttle isn't doing anything. I guess that's why I see so many people that has to manually throttle these things. So I guess we'll do that. Let's just see if it'll start. I mean, that's pretty good. Hit on the first lick there, so. Sure what that's all about. So I'm sure it says somewhere in the book why the blade keeps spinning and this clutch isn't working. So now that the sawmill is actually set up and running, I'm not going to say it's set up perfect or it's running perfect, but it's ready to put a log on. So I want to test it out, kind of see what it's doing. I need to adjust the little linkage for the throttle, that way it, you know, ain't locked wide open or off. Still not really sure why the blade keeps turning after you know, we idle it down. You know, maybe it just needs to wire in a little bit on that belt. I don't know. I adjusted the tension. It's right now. I had it a little bit too tight, but like I said, I wanted to just throw a log on it, kind of see what it does, kind of see some of the measurements. So we're gonna pick us out a real winner right here and see how it does. So this pile of sawdust here was around when the LT28 was. I had it stacked up to saw on that, but obviously never got to it. Not sure how rotted it is. I think there might be some good lumber inside of that. We might get a 2x4 out of it or something, you know. Try to get some of the rot knocked off of it. Ugh. Whoops. Looks like a winner right there, don't it? So this sawmill don't have toe boards on it, so I can't really center the pith, but you know, I'm sure it really matters on this log. But you know, it might be something we'll try to take care of in the future, but for right now. I believe we'll be all right. So I think it's kind of weird that, you know, you walk on the opposite side of this sawmill, which, I mean, I guess it's okay, but there's no adjustable blade guide. And then the, you know, the stops or whatever are over there on that side. And I don't know, it's just, everything's kind of backwards to me. I mean, the stops were on the LT28 were over there, but I walked on that side. So when I was using the cant hook, I could pull down instead of trying to break my back and push it over. So I believe, you know, I'll go over there with the cant hook. But I don't know, it's just kind of odd to me. So when I sold my sawmill, this was one thing I didn't get rid of. Couldn't bring myself to part with my cant hook. That looks a little better. Uh-oh. So there's gonna be a lot of waste anyway, so let's just buzz that off right about where it's at, actually. Hope it sits still. Well, that's good quality wood right there. I think I'm gonna drill a hole in it. Anyway, let's just see what this thing does. There's still some usable wood in that. It's not punky or anything. Okay, so there is a little bit of soft there in the middle. Probably some dry rot. Let's roll her over and see what we can get out of that thing. She got a lot of rattles. We'll do something about that. There we go, fixed it. Sounding a little rough in there where the blade is. So don't look too bad for such a rotted log, but I cut it 7 inches thick right there. Let's flip it over once again and we'll cut it down to 6, and then we'll see if we can get us a 6x6 out of it. Yeah, this side's kind of rotted. Well, sounded like we slung a blade, but oh, that's that idler pulley. So let's take some measurements, see if I dropped that 1 inch when I made that cut there, just on the scale. So let's see if it's running pretty true. No, not at all. So that is a 3/4 inch board. So something probably coming out of alignment here. You know, I tightened it up, but you know, I didn't tighten it up, if that makes sense. Now that one's 1 inch, this piece here is 1 inch. And I dropped it 1 inch for it as well. Got some dry rot down here, but you know, we're gonna get a 6x6 post out of that. Maybe a little, little trashy there, but let's put this blade back on. We'll take a few measurements, see what's went out of whack. You know, it could just be sawdust buildup on this belt because I'm not running any water like an idiot. I was just gonna do one cut without the water, but got carried away, so I bet that's what it was. So let's get some water. Huh. Okay. see if we can keep this from happening again. Let's see what that does. Take another inch off of that. That's an inch board right there. Start off at a 7-inch cut there. That's an inch board. See how we did here. That's a 6x6. Nice. Can't talk over that thing. So let's see how square it come out. I just squared it off of the stops there. Huh. I say that's square. Oh hell. I don't see no odd marks or anything in it. But yeah. I'm pleased with that. So there she is. The first log. That's good and square. Looks good and straight. I can't. There might be a little wave here or there to it, you know, where it's the blade guide isn't adjustable, and you know it kind of rolls with them knots. So, oh well. All right, so glad to have that somewhat done. It's got a lot of loose bolts still, I'm sure. I'm gonna go back through with the adjustments again, and I'll make sure everything's where it should be. But I just wanted to kind of see how she would do, and you know, see if anything was way off. So seems to do what it's supposed to do. The extension on the bed isn't even tight adjusted, nothing. So that could have been causing any issues, but it didn't. I guess I was just getting out of the log before I'd get onto that part. But looks good. Everything's good and square. The dimensions are exact. I mean, exactly 6 inches. So I may, ow, don't do that. I may cut this on down a little bit more. I think I use 5 or 5.5 inch blocks with my trailer. I don't think they're quite 6 inch. And they're, you know, I saw them on the LT28. They're getting, you know, old and falling apart now. So this will give me a few more blocks for a little while, if that's what I want to use it for, because I really don't think it's much good for anything else. But as far as the sawmill, doing exactly what it should. You know, and I was cutting fast too. I was cutting about as fast as I could go with it. I can feel a little hump right there where the knot is, so I think those are causing the blade to kind of buck and roll. So yeah, still wasn't too bad, but you know, speed will do that where I was going so fast. Let's see what the measurements come out to be on those spots, because you can kind of see it there. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's about 1/4 inch. Yep. So I was going probably the fastest on that last cut, so I could shave that off probably if I went slow. And like I say, I might cut those down to 5.5 inch, whatever I got on the trailer. But yeah, does what it should, some of what it shouldn't. I'll try to fix some of that. But yeah, I know there'll be a few more of these, obviously, Sawmill videos to come, so I'll do some fine tuning on this. We'll saw some stuff. Got plenty of stuff needs sawed up, so we'll get to that eventually. So got another project kind of working on in the background here. You may or may not have seen it in this video. Some of those videos will be coming soon, but yeah, got this thing going our direction. So anyway, let's get out here and go on something else.